What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the new version of the Gulag within Warzone. Now, as most of us probably know, initially with the Gulag, all you would have access to was either a pistol or a shotgun. Those are the only two classes of weapons that were used within that. Whereas now, for the past couple weeks or so, we have also had access to other primary weapons. So there's Assault Rifles and SMGs mixed in there. And now that we've had a decent amount of time to play with both styles of the Gulag, I wanted to share my opinion on this. Now, at first, with the initial Gulag where we only had pistols and shotguns, I was really open to change, and I definitely expressed interest in having more guns added into the Gulag just to get some more variety in there. So I am glad that they tried this out and they mixed some more guns in there to add some variety within that. However, now that we've had some time to play with it, I've got to say, I don't really like the new version of the Gulag as much as the old version. And this is due to several reasons. When you have an assault rifle or an SMG within that really small map where there's just a couple lanes to watch, that really encourages you to basically just sit back in your spawn and pre-aim a lane, and if the enemy comes anywhere within that lane, you can pretty much just laser them instantly and there's no time for them to react. The time to kill is extremely fast because there's no armor involved in the Gulag, you've just got the regular health. And it's not like there's that much room for creativity to try and flank and outplay your enemy. So what I've found is it often just becomes that waiting game of who can more patiently sit there and watch the lane, and who's going to slip up and make that first move and get punished harshly for it. Whereas with the original Gulag, when it was pistols and shotguns, I personally wasn't a fan of the shotguns all that much, just because I felt like that really came down to internet connection more than anything. There were so many times where I know, on my screen at least, I got that first shot off with a shotgun, I was feeling confident, but it turns out the enemy technically shot first, or they had a better connection, so they got the kill. So I'm not saying I really like the shotguns more, but I definitely preferred the pistols over the assault rifles and SMGs, in the context of the Gulag, because I do feel like it required a bit more skill, it encouraged movement a lot more, you weren't punished as harshly for trying to cross through a lane and be aggressive on the enemy player, and I don't feel like it catered too heavily to either playstyle. If you wanted to, you absolutely could sit back in your spawn and wait for the enemy, and that would work plenty of times, and then the other times you could rush the enemy just fine. Whereas with the assault rifles and SMGs, I just don't feel like we have that same sort of freedom. In my opinion, it's become much more one-dimensional, and it requires a lot less skill with the assault rifles and SMGs. Another thing that adds to this with the pistols is I feel like the skill gap is higher there because headshots are so important with pistols compared to an assault rifle or an SMG. It was so satisfying going for those one-shot kills with the Desert Eagle or the 357. Anytime you hit one of those, it was such a satisfying feeling, especially if the enemy was just aiming for the body shots and maybe they hit one on the body, but you made sure you lined up your shot properly and got that headshot. That felt really, really satisfying to be getting kills like that. Whereas with an assault rifle or an SMG, you kind of just spray in their direction and get a really quick kill. On top of this, one other thing I don't really like about the newer version of the Gulag with assault rifles and SMGs is I do feel like it kind of takes away from the Gulag feel. Initially, when it was just pistols and shotguns, it kind of felt immersive in the sense that you're in a Gulag. You won't have access to really amazing high-tech weaponry. You've kind of just got to scavenge whatever crappy gun is laying around, and that's kind of how it felt when all you have access to is a pistol. Whereas with an assault rifle, it feels much more like you're a super soldier within the Gulag, and it does feel a little bit out of place. So while it definitely isn't the end of the world by any means, I do feel like the previous Gulag was actually better than the current one, where we only had access to pistols and shotguns, even though I wasn't really a fan of the shotguns either. If it were up to me, I would love to see the Gulag go to pistol only, but give us more variety in the pistols. Give us different blueprints, different attachments, so we're not always using like the same 4 guns over and over again with the same attachments on there. Give us some variety, but just give us pistols. Another option I definitely wouldn't be opposed to is try mixing in some different guns like marksman rifles. I would love to do a Gulag with just Kar 98s because I feel like that would be a much more like high skill 1v1 situation where you're really rewarded for aiming for that headshot and you can't just spray and pray at your enemy. But overall, that's just my opinion on this whole Gulag situation. At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal to me, but it is a change that we've seen and we've had time to play with, and I did want to share my thoughts on that. I do feel like there's room for improvement here, but of course, that is just my opinion, and I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. When it comes to the Gulag, which one did you prefer? Did you prefer the pistols and shotguns only, or do you like it how it is now, where we have assault rifles and SMGs mixed in there? Also, if it were up to you, how would you organize the Gulag when it comes to the weapons that are available? What sorts of combinations or weapons would you like to see within that? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.